Hi everyone. So we are in part 3, our discussions about blood. In part 1, we talk about introduction to blood functions and components. In the part 2, we talk about the form elements or the cellular components of the blood. Now we are in part 3, we will talk about the blood plasma or the matrix of the blood. Okay, just remember blood is a connective tissue that consists of matrix and cells. We already talked about cells on the previous part. Okay, plasma or blood plasma. It is clear straw color components. Is a liquid portions of the blood. So blood is a type of liquid connective tissue. And normally it is 55% of blood volume. Again, if you remember the component of the blood, the bottom one, which is the form elements, it is 45%. And the top one, which is the plasma, it is 55%. Okay, so the blood plasma itself, from this 55%, more than 92% is actually water. Okay, so the main component of blood plasma is actually water. It is also contains organics and inorganic chemicals. The most abundant organics chemicals in the blood plasma is the proteins. Okay, so the proteins. Remember, there are 3 main types of protein in the blood plasma. The most abundant one is the albumin. Okay, and there is globulins, the second abundant ones, and the fibrinogen. Okay, so these are the most abundant organic molecules in the blood plasma. There are also inorganic chemicals like electrolytes, okay, calcium, potassium, chlorides. There are some other like some other organics like sugar, okay, glucoses, hormones, which is lipid soluble hormones, and also water soluble hormones, vitamins. It is also in the blood plasma. And the main functions of the blood plasma is for transport nutrient. It is include the glucoses, okay, vitamins, also transport gas, mostly oxygens and carbon dioxide, transport hormones, lipid soluble or water soluble hormones, also transporting the vitamins. Blood plasma also help regulate fluid and electrolyte balance and maintaining the pH. The most abundant proteins is a dissolved substance proteins. And again, we already mentioned there are 3 main types of protein in the blood plasma: albumin, globulins, and fibrinogen. And typically, it is not used for energy storage. So this protein has different function. Like for example, albumin mostly carry the lipids like cholesterol or lipid soluble hormone. Globulins, there is a group of globulin called the immunoglobulin, which is antibodies used for fighting infection. And fibrinogen is a type of protein that help us for protections against loss of blood. So this is the one that will help to clot the blood. Okay. So this is the list of plasma proteins. Again, the most abundant one is albumin. About 60% of proteins in the blood plasma is albumin. Origins are made in liver. This is not only for transportation of lipid, but also to help maintain colloid osmotic pressure. The second one is globulins, about 36%. There are several types, okay, alpha globulins, beta globulins, and gamma globulins. Gamma globulin, this is the one that usually for making antibodies. Okay, so this is the one that used for protections against infectious disease. The other type of globulins is also used for transporting lipids, fat-soluble vitamins, beta globulin, the same for transporting lipids, including lipid-soluble hormones and fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, K. There's vitamins that dissolve in lipid. And the last one, fibrinogens, only about 4%. This is also originated from liver, and this is play a key role in blood coagulation. So protections against loss of blood. Okay, now gas and nutrients in the blood plasma. The most important one, of course, oxygen. And oxygen is needed by all cells in our body to help production of energy to make ATP. Okay, so oxygen will be transported into the cell, and inside the cell there is an organelle. It's called the mitochondria. Okay, and when the oxygen enter into the cell, it will be used to convert the glucose C6H12O6. Okay, inside this mitochondria, it will be converted into the main energy that we use for all activity, which is ATP. Okay, and then there is byproduct from this process, which is water and carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is the byproduct of this cellular respirations. The main product is actually ATP, which is energy that we use. So this is the function of oxygen in our cell to make energy. Therefore, the oxygen is really important. It has to be transported into the cell. So just for your information, remember last time when we talked about the cellular components of the blood, 98%, okay, 98% of oxygen is actually carried by red blood cell. Okay, it's carried by the red blood cell by proteins in the red blood cell is called the hemoglobin. Okay, so mostly oxygen will be transported by red blood cell, bind to hemoglobin, and then transported into this cell. But there are also some of them that carry in the plasma, very little. But carbon dioxide, this is the one that mostly transported in the blood plasma. So carbon dioxide mostly transported in the blood plasma, while the oxygen transported by red blood cell using the hemoglobin. The plasma proteins, okay, consist of amino acids. There is also plasma nutrients, mostly amino acids, simple sugar, mostly glucoses, and the one that carry in the blood plasma. Some nucleotide, this is the one that will be transported into the cell for making DNA, RNA, and lipids, including fat like triglyceride, phospholipid, cholesterol, and also hormones, the one that's carried by this blood plasma. So these are type of nutrients that is that's allocated in or transported by the blood plasma. There are some other components, non-protein nitrogenous substances. It's called the Npns. This is molecule that contain nitrogen, but they are not proteins. Okay, usually when clinic taking the samples of blood, they will also measure this Npns, okay, non-protein nitrogenous substances. For example, urea. So urea is actually waste product. Okay, this is product of protein catabolisms. About 50% of Npns is actually urea. And this urea at the end will be excreted through the urine. So it will be filtered by the kidney and excreted into urine. So this is the most abundant Npns in the blood. The second one is uric acid. This is also kind of waste product of nucleic acid catabolism. And then amino acids, this is product of protein digestion. Creatine, this is mostly coming from muscles. Okay, so this is a store energy in phosphate bonds, regenerated ATP in muscles. Okay, so it is going to be used by muscle to create some ATP. So muscle have the ability to create ATP from creatine. And then creatinine, this is the waste product. Yes, this is a waste product of creatine metabolism. And these creatinines will be also excreted through the urine. There is another parameter in the blood sample. It's called the BUN, blood urea nitrogen. So this is actually indicating the health conditions of the patient. So this is indicate the health of kidney. High level of BUN indicate that kidney is not excreting urea in normal quantity. So it is not healthy condition if the BUN number is higher. Because remember, urea and some other nitrogenous waste product has to be excreted through urine, which is urine is the filtration of blood by kidney. Okay, so if we have a lot of urea or higher BUN, okay, it means that the kidney does not work properly. Okay, it is again higher BUN indicates the kidney is not working properly to excrete these nitrogenous waste products in our blood plasma. The plasma electrolytes, okay, so the most abundant one is sodium, then chloride. So these two electrolytes are very abundant in the blood plasma. Some other like potassium, calcium, magnesium, bicarbonate, phosphate, and sulfate. Okay, so these are the electrolytes that located in the blood plasma. I think that's all for the blood plasma or for the matrix of the blood. Again, blood plasma mostly consists of water, 92%, and then 7% is proteins. And there are three main types of proteins: albumin, globulins, and fibrinogens. They have different functions. And then nutrients like glucoses, vitamins. There are also hormones, lipid-soluble hormones, water-soluble hormones, glucoses, electrolytes, mostly sodium and chloride. And there are some other electrolytes like calcium, potassium, magnesium, bicarbonates. So we will see you again on the next part.